Hello there, I'm Scott and you're watching Your Experience Guide, and in this video I'm going to talk about the 5 attractions that I hope to see built at Alton Towers. Let's start off with something a little bit unexpected. Everybody always talks about what the next roller coaster is going to be at Alton Towers and which is the next roller coaster that's going to be removed from Alton Towers. But what about water rides? Let's not forget that Alton Towers removed the flume to put the Wicker Man in, but they've never really replaced it with a high capacity water ride, and that is something that Alton Towers seriously lacks on the rare summer days that we get here in the UK. So what type of water ride would I like to see put in at Alton Towers? Now firstly, we have to consider space, because Alton Towers doesn't have a lot of space for expansion, so we're at the point now where they're probably going to be removing rides to put new rides in. Alton Towers also has that problem where they have a lot of restrictions, so just taking out a couple of trees here and there to put new rides in is not as easy as it perhaps would be for other parks or for us to do if we were playing on Planet Coaster or Roller Coaster Tycoon. So I think I'm going to try and be as realistic as possible with these ideas that I hope to see at Alton Towers over the next 10, 15 years maybe. I don't really have a time scale. This is just what I want to see happening at Alton Towers. Let's get rid of Battle Galleons. Is it ever busy? Does anybody actually like it? Is it a popular ride? Who cares anyway? Let's get rid of it and use that nice big plot of water to put in a really good water attraction with high capacity and something that Alton Towers really does need on a summer's day. So what type of water ride would be suitable? Well, what I'd really like to see done is Alton Towers go to Intamin and get one of those new Intamin launched log flume concepts. It'd be a nice way of sort of nodding to the past of Alton Towers, looking back to their classic log flume attraction, or the flume as it was when it was removed, and then just really taking water rides to the next level. They could keep the pirate theme, give it a different theme, fit it in with the Wicker Man, or just give it a completely different theme. I just think one of those rides is something that would be extremely popular at Alton Towers. It would of course be unique to Europe, a launch log flume. Alton Towers, they could advertise it as a Europe's first, a UK's first. Easy marketing attraction for Alton Towers, and it's something that Towers are really good at, marketing their new attractions and existing attractions as well. Moving on to the inevitable subject of roller coaster removals and replacements. Now I think the obvious ones to talk about are of course Galactica in Forbidden Valley and Rita in the Dark Forest. Now in my personal opinion, I actually think both are going to get removed within the next 5 to 10 years. I think they're both going to get replaced or indirectly replaced amongst the new things that are coming to Alton Towers over the next 5 or 10 years. But I'm going to start with Galactica. I would take Galactica out, and that is the space that I would use for a brand new Intamin multi-launch roller coaster, something like Two Tatis at Park Asterix, which has been an incredible hit for Park Asterix. It is an amazing new roller coaster and a great demonstration of the excellent technology that Intamin have at their disposal when it comes to building brand new launch roller coasters. So how would something like Two Tatis fit into Forbidden Valley? Well, of course, if Galactica's gone, then you've got the space that Galactica is leaving behind. But as far as I'm aware, there's also some additional space in that area that Alton Towers can use. I don't know if it's by taking some trees down or by extending onto the car park. I'm not entirely sure without opening up Google and having a look at all the plans that are out there that are easily accessible online. But I think that that is the perfect replacement for that area of the park. It would be an excellent complement to Nemesis version 2. So not thinking exactly on what the layout's going to be, where exactly it's going to fit into Galactica's space that it would leave behind, or how much of it will go into the car park and how many trees would need removed. I just think that that would be the perfect roller coaster to go in that area of the park. It could continue the new Nemesis theme, the Phalanx theme. It could be Phalanx themed. It could be something about the Phalanx are keeping a close eye on the new Nemesis. It could really tie into the story of what's been done with Nemesis. And obviously by this point, Nemesis would be open, probably for a few years. So I think, in my opinion, that is the perfect replacement for Galactica. There's a lot of space there. It wouldn't have to be really tall. Look at Taron. It's not a tall coaster, but it's one of the best coasters in the world. So it could be something like Taron, Two Tatis, Batman Gotham City Escape, all of those kind of coasters in that space, with a Phalanx theme or a continuation of the Nemesis theme, in my opinion, that would be absolutely perfect, and you'd have two incredible roller coasters in that area of the park. So sticking with that for now, obviously, if Alton Towers were to build another Intamin launch coaster, then that would perhaps leave the park with a situation where they've got an LSM launch coaster and hydraulic launch coaster, a bit like Portaventura, but I just don't see that happening. And I have predicted this in the comments of CoasterBot's video recently, where I think that Rita will be removed once Project Horizon is open and established at Alton Towers. Kind of a like for like. Yes, you're losing one coaster, but you're getting another one in Project Horizon. So the actual coaster count at Alton Towers doesn't technically drop because it's one out and one in. Moving on to the third thing. It's not a roller coaster this time. It's something quite simple, really. I'd quite like to see Alton Towers take away the Alton Towers dungeons, but use that building, use the water ride in there to bring about a full world-class dark ride and theatrical experience to Alton Towers, replacing the dungeons, which has served its purpose now. I think it's had its time. I don't know if people still go in there. I don't ever see it getting spoken about online. I don't even know if it's still open. But I think the perfect sort of transition for that attraction would be to go back to it being not an upcharge experience, just included in the park admission, and become a whole new story, a story-led attraction, a bit like the dungeons is now, but without the upcharge and using modern technology. If they could have the dark ride section anything like Pirates of Batavia at Europa Park, I know I've butchered the name of that, I'm really sorry, but if they could have it anything like that in terms of the theming inside, that would be incredible. It could be an actor sort of story-led attraction with the dark ride section, just without the upcharge, with a new story fitting into whatever Project Horizon is going to be themed on. It would just be something that I think would really enhance the experience at Alton Towers. I actually really like the Alton Towers dungeons, but it's such a long experience, and obviously you have to pay for it. It's not something that I've done for a very long time, and like I say, I don't even know if it's still open. So I'd definitely change that with some sort of dark ride experience, even if it was an experience that was shortened from how long the dungeons is. I would definitely change that back into an experience which is not an upcharge. The fourth one is, it's more of a like for like, this one. It would be nice to see the Congo River Rapids modernised to something like Infinity Falls at SeaWorld Orlando. Yes, that ride is an absolute soaker. It's probably far too wet for the UK, but I go back to the point I made earlier. Alton Towers needs some good water rides, and currently I think their water ride offering is lacking. I mean, most of the UK parks could probably improve on their water ride offering, but I just think that Alton Towers especially could really improve on it. So I don't know how easily it could be done using the current layout, the current footprint of the river rapids at Alton Towers, but if that ride could be transformed to something like Infinity Falls in terms of having the drop at the end or at the start, having the rapids be a bit more rapid, it would just make it so much better. And it was something that I think that families would have so much fun on, and it would become a must-do attraction at Alton Towers. The fifth one, and the final one, is probably something that's really quite obvious. Remove Spinball Wizard and extend CBeebies Land. I have a 5-year-old son who absolutely loves CBeebies Land at Alton Towers, and it is always rammed, and it definitely needs an expansion. Alton Towers has plenty of roller coasters with the 1.2 height restriction, but not everybody who meets that height restriction is ready to go on rides like Wicker Man, 13 and Spinball Wizard. So I think that it will be really good to remove Spinball Wizard and put in a roller coaster in its place that is part of an expansion of CBeebies Land, that is something that children who are 1 metre tall, 1.1 metre tall and 1.2 metre tall can go on, but something that's a little bit more suitable for the CBeebies area, because like I say, not every person that meets a height restriction wants to do that ride. My son's 5, he's a couple of months off 6, he's not far off being at the 1.2 metre height restriction. But at this point in time, there is absolutely no way he'd go on things like Wicker Man or 13. Whereas somebody else's 5-year-old will probably be really keen to do those rides as soon as they meet the height restriction. Everybody sort of gets used to rides differently. I was a slow starter with roller coasters. I wasn't going on roller coasters until I was a teenager, whereas my little boy has already been on things like Blue Flyer, Troublesome Trucks, Runaway Mine Train, and 7 or 8 other roller coasters, including a couple at Portaventura. But he's not quite ready for things like Avalanche at Blackpool Pleasure Beach, or Wicker Man at Alton Towers, or Spinball, or 13. So I just think that if Alton Towers could fill that gap by replacing Spinball and putting in another family aimed roller coaster, let's say, that's suitable for varying height restrictions and suitable for those that meet the height restrictions that are a little bit more nervous about roller coasters but really keen to get into going onto roller coasters. So for the 5th one, I don't have a specific roller coaster type, but I think it's a gap that Alton Towers really needs to fill, and I think it's something that they've needed to fill for a long time, because it's okay to have roller coasters with a 1.2 metre height restriction, but they still might not be suitable for people who are that height. And to be fair, there's still adults who won't go on a roller coaster. So everybody reacts to roller coasters differently, and I think for that area, definitely get rid of Spinball Whizzer, put in something that's more suitable for the CBeebies market, a step up from Octonauts, maybe a step up from the Runaway Mine Train, or maybe something of the same sort of scare and thrill factor for the younger riders who are going to go on it. So that's all for this video as far as the 5 new attractions that I'd put in at Alton Towers goes. If you've enjoyed this video and you would like to see me do something about Blackpool Pleasure Beach or Thorpe Park, for example, please hit the like button. And if we could get this video to somewhere between 200 and 300 likes, I will definitely do a video like this about Blackpool Pleasure Beach. Many thanks for watching. Please let me know in the comment section below what you'd like to see Alton Towers do, and I'll see you in the next video.